Hello, dear subscribers and casual listeners of my channel. I'm continuing to share interesting facts from the Harry Potter universe, which for various reasons were left out of the movies. Today I'll tell you about how to lose a Quidditch match by catching the snitch, why Hagrid uses a magical umbrella, as well as where he got his motorcycle and the Weasley family's flying car. So, let's dive in. Enjoy watching. 1. The pink umbrella. Unlike most wizards, Hagrid uses a humorous pink umbrella instead of a wand. In the films, he used it to grow a pig's tail on Dudley, light a fire in the hearth, open the passage to Diagon Alley, and even help set up the tent for Bill and Fleur's wedding. In the second film, From Tom Riddle's Memory, we learned that Hagrid was accused of murdering Moaning Myrtle, which led to his expulsion from school and the confiscation of his wand. As usual, readers discovered these details before the movie audiences, right in the first book. Rubeus Hagrid.
So nice to see you again. Oak, 16 inches. Quite bendy, wasn't it?
Yes, sir, Hagrid replied. It was a good wand, but as I understand it, it was broken in half when you were expelled. Mr. Ollivander's tone suddenly grew stern. Yes, that's right, sir. Hagrid agreed, looking down at his feet and, for some reason, rubbing them against the floor. Then he beamed, but I kept the broken pieces. I hope you're not using them, asked Mr. Ollivander sternly. Oh, of course not, sir, Hagrid quickly replied. Harry noticed that Hagrid was gripping his pink umbrella tightly. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Through a bit of deduction, we can guess that the umbrella contains the fragments of his old wand. Let's set aside the debate about the legality of such actions. In any case, by the end of Chamber of Secrets, Hagrid had been fully exonerated and could have purchased a new wand from Ollivander, but he likely grew too attached to his umbrella. 2.
The Weasley family's Ford. The head of the Weasley family leads the misuse of Muggle artifacts office. Ironically, he enjoys tinkering with an old Muggle car in the shed. As Ron once said, if he searched his own house, he'd have to arrest himself. Mrs. Weasley entered the kitchen, holding a long poker like a sword. Mr. Weasley's eyes widened as he guiltily looked at his wife. "What cars, dear Molly?" "Yes, Arthur, cars." Mrs. Weasley's eyes sparkled. Imagine a wizard who bought an old heap and told his wife he'd dismantle it to see how it worked. In reality, though, he's enchanted it to fly. And there you go. That car can take you anywhere in the world. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Of course, Arthur is fully aware of the penalties for lawbreakers. He works with these violations daily. But as a legislator, the head of the red-headed family made sure his hobby remained untouchable by creating a loophole. Mr. Weasley blinked and began explaining.
You see, dear, this wizard didn't break the law, not one bit. Although, it would have been better if he'd told his wife the truth. The law includes a clause if a wizard didn't intend a clause. If a wizard didn't intend to fly, the fact that the car gained flying abilities doesn't mean... Arthur Weasley, you wrote this law yourself, and, of course, you conveniently added that clause. To fly, the fact that the car gained flying abilities doesn't mean... Arthur Weasley, you wrote this law yourself, and, of course, you conveniently added that clause. Mrs. Weasley thundered. Just so you could tinker with all that Muggle nonsense in the shed. And for your information, this morning, Harry flew over here in that very car, the one not meant for flying. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. For a long time, Arthur's antics went unnoticed by ministry representatives. Even rescuing Harry from his aunt and uncle's house with the flying Ford, a clear violation, went unnoticed. But the journey to school that Harry and Ron made in the car caught everyone's attention, both Muggles and wizards. It even made the newspapers. The Weasleys received a hefty fine of 50 galleons for this offence. 3. A snitch for the losers. The Quidditch World Cup final.
Remember how in The Goblet of Fire we were dramatically introduced to the teams from Ireland and Bulgaria, with special attention, of course, to Victor Crumb. They set us up for an incredible spectacle, a professional wizard sport like we'd never seen before, and then simply didn't show us the match. I'll never forgive the film for that disappointment. Instead, we were shown the Weasley family's strange adoration for the Bulgarian seeker, with Ron practically swooning over him. In this scene, attentive viewers may have noticed something odd. Arthur Weasley's children, dressed in Irish colours, were chanting Crumb's name, the Bulgarian team's seeker, and seemed unbothered by the match's outcome. One of the twins even says, "I guess the Irish got a bit full of themselves." Notice a bit of a contradiction here?
To clarify what happened, let's recall some basic Quidditch rules. 1. The team with the most points wins. 2. The match ends as soon as the snitch is caught. 3. The snitch is worth 150 points. We're used to the idea that the team whose seeker catches the snitch wins, but that's not necessarily the case. Now, about the match itself. It was brutal. The Irish seeker crashed to the ground twice, fooled by Crumb's Wronski feint, while the Bulgarian beaters fiercely targeted the Irish players, and the Irish chasers showed incredible teamwork, scoring goal after goal, quickly gaining a lead of over 100 points. Only the world's best seeker could change the situation by catching the snitch. "Where's the snitch?" Charlie yelled across the stands. "He caught it! Crumb caught it! It's over!" exclaimed Harry. Crumb, in a blood-soaked red robe, slowly rose into the air, the golden snitch glittering in his raised hand. The scoreboard lit up. Bulgaria 160, Ireland 170.
It took a moment for the crowd to realize what had happened. But then, like an enormous growing wave, the sound from the Irish stands grew louder and louder, erupting into a thunderous cheer.
"Ireland wins!" Ludo Bagman yelled, just as surprised as the Irish fans by the match's sudden end. "Crumb catches the snitch, but Ireland wins." My word, who could have expected this? Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. So Crumb caught the snitch, but the 150 points weren't enough to overtake Ireland. Why did he do it? Couldn't he have waited for his team's chasers to score at least 2 more goals? Harry Potter shares his expert opinion on the Bulgarian seeker's move.
Why did he catch the snitch?
Ron yelled, jumping and clapping overhead, stopping the match when the Irish were 160 points ahead. What a fool. He knew they'd never catch up to Ireland, Harry replied through the noise, clapping as hard as he could too. The Irish chasers were too good. He wanted to end the match on his own terms, that's all. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Crumb showed an incredible level of skill, which earned the admiration of our heroes, but it was still Ireland who won. This explains the odd behaviour of the Weasley family in the film, which many viewers might have missed. 4. A motorcycle for the giant. Aside from his umbrella, Hagrid owns another unusual item for a wizard. A motorcycle large enough to support a giant. And not just any motorcycle, but a flying one. It's unlikely that the gamekeeper, who never even finished school, could have enchanted it himself. So how did Hagrid come by it?
Did he win it in a card game like the Dragon Egg, or receive it as a birthday gift? The real story is much more interesting. The original owner of the motorcycle was Sirius Black. Upon learning of the Potter's death, he immediately rushed to their home in Godric's Hollow, where he met Hagrid, who had been tasked by Dumbledore to retrieve young Harry. Hearing this, Sirius lent his motorcycle to the giant and went off in search of the traitor Peter. At last, Hagrid. Hearing this, Sirius lent his motorcycle to the giant and went off in search of the traitor Peter. At last, Hagrid. Dumbledore's voice was full of relief. "Where did you get that motorbike?" "I borrowed it, Professor Dumbledore," the giant replied, carefully getting off the bike, "from young Sirius Black. As for the child I brought him, sir."
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. It's a bit of an odd decision to send Hagrid flying on an unfamiliar machine, especially with a baby. But we can chalk it up to the shock Sirius must have felt after losing his best friend. In Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Hagrid recalls this moment. "I saw him that night," Hagrid lowered his voice. "I must have been the last person to see him before the killing. I saved Harry, got him out of the ruins, with Lily and James already gone. Pulled him out, and he had a scar on his forehead, and there was this Sirius Black on his motorcycle. I didn't know why he'd come, thought he'd come to help. Pale as death, shaking all over. And me! I started comforting him. 'Hagrid, please, quieter,' begged Professor McGonagall, though in vain. How was I supposed to know he didn't care about Lily and James, that he was the traitor? And he even said, 'I'm Harry's godfather, give him to me, I'll take care of him.' Ha! I didn't hand over Harry. Dumbledore told me to bring him to his aunt." Black argued a bit, then agreed, and gave me his motorbike to get Harry there. "I don't need it anymore," he says. "How could I not have known?" Hagrid wailed. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. In the 7th film, the motorcycle had been significantly upgraded, at least with a sidecar and some useful features. It was modified by a man with a lot of experience enchanting Muggle items, Arthur Weasley. 5. Nicholas Flamel. One of the most intriguing deleted scenes from the first Harry Potter film could have changed the way we see the young wizard's character. In it, Harry first shows himself as a detective, clever and observant. On the train to Hogwarts, he accidentally notices Nicholas Flamel's name on a card featuring Dumbledore. Ron says the name aloud, but doesn't think much of it. Harry, however, sharp and attentive, remembers it. Later, when the topic of the Philosopher's Stone comes up again, Harry recalls the card. He realizes that Flamel's name is linked to this mysterious artifact. Usually in these situations, the plot relies on Hermione and her books. But this time, Harry finds the key himself. It's a rare moment where he demonstrates his own attentiveness and intuition. Harry is not just a hero who follows his friends' clues. He can also be the first to see the truth. Unfortunately, the scene was cut, so this important aspect of Harry's character didn't make it to the screen. We only see him as a brave and loyal friend, but this moment emphasizes his attention to detail and his ability to notice the small things and draw conclusions. The scene would have added strength and independence to Harry's character. Here he isn't just following, he's an active participant in finding answers. If this scene had been included, it could have been an important part of the film. By removing it, the creators may have aimed to shorten the runtime and simplify the plot. But in the Harry Potter films, such moments are priceless. They make the character more relatable and understandable. Here, Harry reveals himself not as a passive hero, but as someone insightful and independent. 6. Filch's secret. In another deleted scene from the second film, Harry and Ron accidentally discover Argus Filch's secret. They see him holding a booklet titled A Beginner's Guide to Curses. This is shocking. After all, Filch works at Hogwarts but can't perform magic. It turns out he's a squib, born into a magical family but without magical abilities. This moment could have given us a deeper look into the magical world, where squibs are often seen as oddities. We only learn about squibs in the 5th film, when Hermione explains the term to Harry. But if the scene with Filch had stayed, we'd understand it earlier. It would add complexity to the world of Hogwarts and make Filch a more intriguing character. This scene reveals Filch as a tragic figure. Every day, he works among wizards, but can't cast even a simple spell himself, which is painful for him. It makes his strict and unfriendly attitude toward students more understandable. The magic that surrounds him constantly reminds him of what he lacks. Filch, with the booklet in hand, isn't just a grumpy caretaker. He's a man with pain and an unfulfilled dream. He hopes for a miracle, though he knows he'll never be a wizard. This scene could evoke sympathy for him. We'd see his vulnerability and bitterness hidden behind a stern exterior. It would also explain his anger. Each student who passes him is a reminder that he lacks what they have. Living at Hogwarts constantly reminds him of his inability to be magical, leading to a hidden envy that shows up in his strictness towards students. 7. Sir Cadogan and Professor McGonagall. In a deleted scene from The Prisoner of Azkaban, Gryffindor students gather nervously in the common room, frightened by rumours of Sirius Black. They're in pyjamas, sitting close to one another, whispering. Among them is Professor McGonagall, also in nightclothes, giving the scene a cosy warmth. Adults and children are united by the same concern.
McGonagall is tense. She maintains control, but it's clear that even her confidence is shaken. She demands answers from Sir Cadogan, the knight on the portrait guarding the entrance. But instead of helpful information, Cadogan launches into a bizarre, boastful tale of valour, insisting he acted bravely, as always. The students exchange looks. Their hope for a protector crumbles. Instead of a heroic defender, they see only a talkative, ridiculous figure. This blend of fear and comedy creates a unique atmosphere. The Gryffindors are truly scared, each expressing it in their own way. Hermione is bewildered, Ron jokes to hide his fear, and Harry remains tense. Their shared fear brings them closer, each seeking support from the other. 8. Ron teaches Hermione. In a deleted scene from the Deathly Hallows, Ron teaches Hermione to skip stones across the water. It might seem like a small moment, but it's full of warmth.
Hermione, usually confident, is awkward here. The stone just plops into the water. Ron, on the other hand, makes it skip effortlessly. Calm and assured, he explains how to throw it, and Hermione watches him captivated. In this moment, Ron becomes the teacher. For the first time, he's showing Hermione something he's better at, and he doesn't hide his satisfaction. It's a rare instance where she's impressed by his skill, even if it's a simple one. He seems different to her, not just a fun friend, but someone with hidden talents she hadn't noticed before. Respect appears in her eyes. The scene reveals a surprising side of Ron. At school, he often stands in Hermione's and Harry's shadows, but here by the river, he's independent and self-assured. He's just a guy who knows how to skip stones, and this impresses Hermione. It's not about magic or studies, it's where Ron shines. Their friendship gains a new dimension. Ron and Hermione, usually bickering or competing, come closer. They're simply teenagers, laughing and learning from each other. It's a rare moment where both are relaxed and Ron can lead. Hermione sees something more in him than just a friend. Sadly, this scene was cut, perhaps because it seemed minor to the plot. But it could have deepened Ron and Hermione's relationship. It would have shown that Ron, too, can impress, even in simple things. It emphasizes that he isn't just the third member of the trio, but an independent, strong character. Here, Ron isn't just the funny, good-natured friend. He's someone who can give confidence and teach. He sees the world a bit differently. Watching him, Hermione discovers a new side of him. A simple stone-skipping game becomes a bridge between them. 9. Students think Harry is a dark wizard. In a deleted scene from the Chamber of Secrets, Harry accidentally overhears two classmates whispering. They're talking about him as if he's a dark wizard, discussing his strange ability to talk to snakes. One of them is convinced. He's a Parselmouth. Everyone knows it's a sign of a dark wizard. Harry is shocked and doesn't understand why they're afraid of him. This scene intensifies his loneliness. His classmates see him as a threat, not a friend. After all, Parselmouths are associated with Slytherin and its dark legacy. Harry becomes a stranger, an outsider in the school he has come to think of as home. His abilities, usually admired, now become a source of fear. One of the students desperately asks,
"Have you ever heard of a good wizard who talks to snakes?" These words hurt Harry. In his friends' eyes, he's no longer the person they knew. He's now dangerous, different. They see him not as a savior, but as a threat. Harry feels rejected for a power he didn't choose to have. Unfortunately, this scene didn't make it into the film. It may have seemed unnecessary, but it would have added drama. Harry, who saved the school, now feels like an outsider among his own. This scene would have made his struggles more tangible. The chosen hero suddenly seen as suspicious, a stranger. These rumors and distrust would have shown how hard it is to be Harry Potter. At such a moment, his strength isolates him rather than helping him. And it would have added depth to his experiences. Being a hero no one believes in is another trial, especially painful for a teenager. 10. Harry and Hagrid on the subway. In a deleted scene from The Philosopher's Stone, Harry and Hagrid ride the subway, discussing Hogwarts shopping. Hagrid, huge and unusual, sits among ordinary muggles, drawing smiles. Beside him, Harry, enchanted by the world of magic, reads the list and, surprised by the line, "Dragon-hide gloves," asks, "From a real dragon?" Hagrid chuckles. "Of course, not from a penguin." This scene is full of warm humour and shows how Harry is getting used to magical oddities. But the real charm comes when Hagrid suddenly says dreamily, "I'd love to have a dragon myself." Harry, confused, looks at him, and Hagrid shrugs, adding, "They're smarter than people think. People underestimate them." At this moment, Hagrid reveals himself not just as a gentle giant, but as someone with dreams and passions. His love for magical creatures is genuine and childlike. Harry sees in him not only a protector, but also a friend with unique quirks to admire. The scene adds contrast between the magical and ordinary worlds. Around them are regular subway passengers indifferent to magic. No one realizes that nearby are a wizard and a future Hogwarts student discussing dragons. This hidden magical world existing in plain sight makes the scene even more interesting. Sadly, this scene was cut, likely to save time on moments outside of Hogwarts, but it would have added warmth to Harry and Hagrid's relationship. We see how Hagrid cares for Harry, guiding him through the magical world, and how Harry trusts him and listens in awe. Their bond becomes closer and warmer. That's all. Thank you for watching until the end. I hope this means you enjoyed it. If so, don't forget to like, share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to the channel.